Welcome back to Me. I Am a Memoir, the meaning of Mariah Carey. This is Fab. Over there is Her Royal Highness, Posh of La Poshwa.
Thought you meant to call me Posh of Low.
No, Posh of Low. Posh of La Poshwa. And we are in the middle of our countdown of Mariah Carey's studio albums, complete studio albums.
Yes.
We're leaving a whole bunch out because they were best ofs.
Yeah.
With one extra song.
Yeah.
Sadly, there is no album of Almost Home. So
it's such a disappointment.
Yeah, I know. Otherwise,
it's just so strong. I mean, what else could go on that album?
What else?
Nothing.
Could go on? Exactly. It needs to be alone in the wilderness where it lives. Mariah hates it. So. But we are going to barrel on straight through to breaking it on down, the countdown. Now, before we count down this, where we're going from, we're up to number 10. We should recap where we were for the last 5 albums.
Yes.
In case there was some controversy.
Controversy. All right. So my number 15 was Charm Bracelet. Mm-hmm. 14 was Merry Christmas to You. Mm-hmm. 13, Emotions. 12, Memoirs of an Imperfect Angel. And 11, Rainbow.
Right. Well, I had Memoirs of an Imperfect Angel at 15. I Am Mariah, the Elusive Sham Two at 14. I know, shocking. Merry Christmas to You at 13. Very close. And 12 was Charm Bracelet. Ooh. And number 11 was Controversially equals MC squared.
Oh, my goodness. What will happen next? More controversy.
Controversy is about to be unleashed.
All right. So we've got 10 more. Something tells me we'll start going, we'll get through these 10 in one episode.
We will not.
Get to 8 and have to break again. So tell us, what is your number 10 Mariah Carey album?
So you might remember in the last episode, I bumped E equals MC squared back to 11 in favor of my number 10 album.
Okay.
Which is going to upset you. But I just have a lot of fond memories of Emotions.
Okay.
And it was just like when I listened to it again, just as a whole album, I was like, it just took me to a place where I, was young and excited and full of hope and promises instead of this husky old 51-year-old shell. Like I remembered listening to it over and over again on a flight, like a 20 or 36-hour flight to the UK via America, like weirdly, like it's the longest way to go. I bought a Discman and only had like 2 discs. It was Emotions and the first album. And Emotions, I think, came out like the day before I got on the plane. So I just lived in Emotions.
And it's the second album. You've had the first album.
I know that one.
Now I've got another one.
Got another one. But also just listening to it, like the lows aren't as low as I remember them being. Like,
yeah, sure.
I feel like, that run of ordinary songs on Memoirs of an Imperfect Angel, none of the songs and Emotions feel like they get that low. And even the ones that maybe aren't as memorable or something, they're still fun or there's something. And they're only one song in between some great, incredible vocal performances. Like, even something like If It's Over, like she belts out to the, it's a huge, big vocal performance. And I think that's one of the reasons I have so much fond love for it. Also, it ends beautifully. I feel like The Wind is amazing. And Till the End of Time, I know it's a very long song and it would upset you.
I'm going to have a look at where I put that. 1 second.
I could just
No, I put it in the middle. I don't mind it.
There's, she just was like doing something with her voice that was incredible. And also there are a couple of times on this album where she sings in her whistle register, and that had not happened on the first album. Like that was kind of mixed down a lot. And I feel like, I had a lot of emotions about emotions.
Fair enough. I'm not mad at this. Maybe if it was number one, I'd be a bit confused.
Oh yeah, you'd be furious. But
no, I'm okay with this because I knew that this album would have a bit more love from you because you were there.
I was there.
I was not there.
You were not there. You were
sense.
Not even a zygote probably at this point.
I think I might have been
1 year old. Yeah, I was what, 19, 20, on a plane. Yeah. So it just, I have a lot of fond memories for it, even though there are a few clangers on there that are not the best. And it had a lot more, it felt like, after that first album, it's going to be amazing because that one was amazing.
Yes.
And it was okay. It's a lot about how I feel about and my, the nostalgia.
The nostalgia. No, that's fine. There's a couple of albums on here that a lot of people won't think are great, but I'm like, but I just love it. For whatever reason. So that's all good. But this does bring us to my number 10.
Your number 10.
Which is probably the final nail in my coffin.
Oh, no.
And I think probably going to be the most controversial take in this countdown.
Oh, do I need to order the SWAT to your house? Is that what the kids do now?
I think so. So the reason that this album is where it is because I just never quite cottoned to it like I have some of the others.
Yep.
This actually scored lower than Rainbow in my overall score, but I do think the highs on this are much higher than those on Rainbow. And perhaps the pressure to love this album as much as others was a little too much for me.
Right.
And that, I'm so scared to even say it.
No, just say it. Just rip the Band-Aid off.
My number 10 is Butterfly.
Oh, you're dead to me.
I know.
Dead to me.
So this was hard. This was probably the hardest one to figure out. Yeah, bye forever. Oh, good. I can skip the beautiful ones now. And I will say admittedly, The Beautiful Ones is probably one of the biggest reasons.
I can't believe it's a cover. You can ignore it.
It's hard to ignore the screaming. And not just the screaming that they do, but the screaming that I do.
Stop trying to sing along. It'll make a much more pleasant experience.
So this is another one that's sort of 50-50 for me in terms of ones that I go back to. So my all, obviously, Infinitized.
Amazing.
I love Whenever You Call, but it has that damn key change that I just wish wasn't there.
Oh, no, I love that key change.
Need to be.
It does. It's Mariah going, can your vocal cords do this?
Yeah, but she's just done it better on other songs. And then, Honey, Close My Eyes, Butterfly, Outside, all great.
Amazing.
Weirdly, for a song that is 100% my kind of song.
Baby Doll.
The mood. No, The Roof. For some reason, it's in the middle. Don't get me wrong. It's not a skip, but the sound of that song is totally my kind of thing. Yep. It has weather. You don't like the weather, but I like the weather.
No, but I like the weather in that one.
Exactly. It's got a really nice groove. It's kind of sexy. It tells a story. These are all things that yes for me.
Yeah.
And yet for some reason, I just don't go back to it. I'm like Brandy, I forgot that it happened. Someone in it. And then, Breakdown's another one. It's like, I remember this song, but I certainly don't go searching for it. And then,
I love Bone Thugs and Harmony.
And then, Baby Doll on 4th of July, I think there's better versions of them elsewhere. I think Crybaby was a little bit of a better version of Baby Doll. And 4th of July does suffer from Underneath the Stars-itis. So that doesn't.
See, I love Underneath the Stars.
And this is the way it's controversial. And like I said, with The Roof, I don't fully understand why, but I think sometimes just the pressure. It was just, and I wasn't, like you were talking about with Emotions, I just wasn't tuned in at that time.
Yeah.
To the album. So I didn't feel it. And I haven't had a Roof moment in the last couple of years when we've been doing this. So maybe if I have a Roof moment, with someone's special microphone, I'll start to get it. But for now, I think I wanted to like it a lot more than I did.
Right.
And I just had to face facts when we got to this countdown and go, you know what? Okay. And the reason that I put this above Rainbow as well is because I think this takes a lot more risks. So even if I didn't necessarily think they all paid off,
Yep.
I appreciate the dedication to the risks.
Yep.
And obviously lyrically, you know, it's top tier Mariah.
Oh yeah.
So
Amazing.
I can't take that away from her.
No.
But I've people have already left this podcast because of my horrific.
It's all right.
take.
I'm here for you, everyone. He's wrong. He's incorrect. And we've already established that he can't do maths. And obviously he's written a zero there where there was not meant to be
exactly.
one. Like, that's easily. That's exactly what's happened.
But no, as far as the beautiful ones, I really tried. I really tried again and I just can't.
Don't understand.
I think of her entire discography, it is the one song that I could just get an eraser and just go,
no.
bye.
It's one of my favorites. I love it. Love it.
I can't. All right. What is your number 9?
Now, obviously, this is higher than anyone would have expected because we're in the top 10 and it's like you haven't said the name of it yet, so it must be up there somewhere.
Yeah.
And it is Rainbow.
Yes.
And the reason for that also is emotional. I mean, you know, Heartbreaker, amazing song. Like there's like
we love it.
You can't even pretend it's not there. And I'd absolutely loathe. Thank God I found you.
Yes.
Like I just
he said it.
I hated it. But I love Against All Odds. Even the Westlife version, to be honest. Like and the dance mix. I'm here for Mariah does Phil Collins. But it's the sudden appearance of Diane Warren in the life of Mariah Carey, even though they did not get along and Mariah thought Diane Warren was lazy. And they had
Why don't you want to be in a shed with me for 6 months doing one BV? I don't understand, Diane. You're not committed. I know violinists more committed than you.
But, they did create Mariah's theme, which is one of those songs that I just go back to all the time, and it just lives with me in a place. And while it might not be, her best album, it like the highs are really high, and I think they make up for the few little low spots that maybe I don't love.
I don't know if anything can make up for Did I Do That, but all right.
I mean, After Tonight, it's a duet with herself. Like it's, she sang both parts thinking someone was going to come and help her. And she's like, oh, no, fuck it, put it on there. Like, it's a Diane Warren song. She won't even know that it wasn't a duet. She's busy drunk at the pokies.
Oh my God. I can see it.
Like seriously, the other day, Diane, I follow her on the Twitter, and she posted a picture of herself at the pokies, all excited because the coins were raining down. I'm like, Diane, you're the richest woman in the world. What are you doing at the pokies?
Maybe that's how she didn't make any money from her songs. No. It was all the pokies.
But yeah, it's just there's too many like choice moments on it that kind of lifted above where it probably should be, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like I know that it's not a great album, but
you've got attachments.
Yeah, there are some songs on there that also, like Snoop Dogg.
We love Snoop.
We love Snoop. Like Crybaby's great. Like there are just some great little moments on it, and and it has a bittersweet ending, and and it does feel like it feels like a breakup album, if that makes sense. Like even though it's triumphant and it's like because Can't Take That Away, Mariah's theme.
Lesson.
Mariah's lesson. Mariah's theme is, she was in the middle of horrendous turmoil. Like she was being ground underfoot by her husband / boss. and she's trying to rise above it all, and it just feels like I'm better than this situation kind of, like the whole album feels infused with that. And I just really love it in a way that I can't explain, even though I know it's not amazing. Okay. It's like
it was 11 for me. It's not, we're not super far apart on it.
It's like your love of the work of Holly Marie Coombs. Like, I'm sure that she's been in things that you go, I probably shouldn't have watched this, but I enjoyed it because she was in everything.
Yeah. So I wasn't expecting that name.
Like Alyssa Milano, you're like, I would follow her to places, but Holly Marie, you're like, would I follow you to? But I did.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I guess I did. So yeah, so dumb. I love it. All right, this brings me to my number 9. Now, this was one that I really thought would be higher. But again, going through it just sort of similar to you with E equals MC squared.
Yes,
this was one but I like this, so why is it here? But I think, again, just knowing the whole discography now, some tracks just have to be in the middle. Yeah. So some albums just have to be in the middle.
Like, there's too many good albums. Like, the top 5 is just going to be a blistering mess of hits.
Brilliant.
And shirts.
Yeah. So the reason this one's in here is because maybe something like Rainbow, where I said I was kind of 50-50 on what I really liked and what I didn't. This one's more 50-50 on what I really like and what I kind of like. And that is Caution. Our most recent Mariah. Because I think similar to what, when we discussed it, I was sort of saying there's some really good stuff on here, but I don't think any of it is necessarily the best of anything that she's done. So A No-No is probably my favorite off there, but is it the greatest song of her entire discog? No. So songs like A No-No, Get the Fuck Out, Caution, Giving Me Life, Portrait, they're ones that I'm like, oh yeah, pop that on. The other ones are all good, but they're there.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's good. Yeah, I like this song. I can listen to it. If I feel in the mood for this album and this sound, it is the perfect Mariah Carey album.
Yep.
But if I'm not in the mood for this sound, then I'm like, well, why is this one on? Like, why am I not going to infinity? I don't understand.
I need some infinitization in my life.
Yeah. But I probably would say of all of Mariah's albums, this is probably the easiest listen for anyone who maybe hasn't known of Mariah. If you just want to pop it on, someone comes over and you're like, I know they're not a huge Mariah fan, but I feel like a bit of Mariah. I'm making us a cup of tea. I'll pop Caution on.
Yeah.
There's enough of a groove. It's not over the top. And they can be like, oh, what's this? Oh, I don't mind this. So that's this album for me.
Yeah.
So solid album, maybe just not super exciting.
Yeah.
Is where I sit with it. All right. Which is your number 8?
Okay, if you thought our friendship was going to be tested by putting Butterfly at number 10, having Daydream at number 8 is probably
just how about you get the fuck out? Honestly,
and
I mean,
we're getting
can't even look at you.
We're getting into so the last 2 have gotten higher than they are because of emotional attachments. And I pretty much have an emotional attachment to every album from here on in. So as we head towards number 1, there is some kind of attachment. I think my problem with Daydream is it's a collection of hits. And it's a collection of songs. It doesn't hang together as an album in the way that some of the ones above it in the list do. Like,
I'm just eyeing you.
Yeah, I know you're staring at me like I'm.
All these horrific, incorrect things.
Maybe I heard One Sweet Day too many times. Living through that experience, like being alive at that moment. And there's just there's some great songs on it. I don't know that Open Arms is her best cover. And I do love her covers.
Second best cover. It's you speak the truth. It's her second best cover.
And you know, even though it has like Daydream interlude on it, which I love and I adore, Always Been My Baby, Under the Stars, like it's Underneath the Stars, like there's, you know, great songs. It just like, I mean, look, it's an amazing album. It's in my top 10.
Obviously.
But I think it just doesn't hang together as an album the way some of her best albums do, in that each song has an ebb and flow, and you know, each song follows on after each other. These songs, like, you can take out and listen to them and you go, yeah, that's fine. Whereas some of my favorite Mariah albums are the one where if I don't hear the next song, I'm like, why isn't that song coming on now?
Sure.
Like, I could play When I Saw You just on its own and be perfectly happy when it was finished. And it's one of my favorite songs to sing in the shower.
Yes. One of Mariah's toughest vocals.
Oh, it's a nightmare. I can't, like, when I say I sing it in the shower, I don't mean I sing it well. But yeah, it just, like, there's, yeah, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the Afanasieff of it all. Like, Forever is a bit too cloying sometimes when I hear it. Yeah, I think it's just, like, it doesn't feel like it hangs together as well as an album. And it also feels like she's on her way to becoming something. Like, it feels like she's taking steps towards, you know, an album that you didn't love.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry that I'm correct and you're not.
No, I think you're fine. But yeah, like an album full of bangers, but, you know, they could be on any album and be fine, but they don't feel like it's not an album where I feel like each song leads into the next song and the next song and the next song. So yeah, that is the reason that Daydream is at number 8.
And that's the reason that this podcast has to come to an end, I'm afraid. This has been so lovely. It's been really lovely. But unfortunately, when someone has a personality disorder that is this problematic. No, it's fine. It's your countdown.
It's my
you can have
countdown,
your countdown.
and that's where Daydream goes.
I can get my big red pen, like, text her out later. It's fine.
I mean, there's a lot of infinities on the album, but the album just doesn't feel.
I'm really going to make sure that I'm going to sneak into your will and make sure that One Sweet Day is played at your funeral, and I will sing it badly. And I will import a shower so I can do it in the shower. All right.
You know I want bye-bye.
I think my top 8 is just going to be me saying all the reasons that you're wrong, but that's fine because I had my controversial butterfly.
You did.
Position. So my number 8 is an album that I, going into this, was like, oh, this is going to be dead last. When, you know, before we listened to everything, I was like, oh, this will have to be dead last. But then I listened to it and I had such a good time. In fact, I thought it might have been even higher. But again, as we're talking about, you're splitting hairs at this point.
Yeah.
And so that number 8 position goes to Glitter.
Glitter.
So when I first heard it, I was like, oh, this is so fun. But I found that there was maybe a few songs that I just don't go back to. And I think we even talked about it at the time, maybe similar to what you were just saying about Daydream or how I felt about Merry Christmas to You, where there are some songs that absolutely make sense together, but other songs that you're just like, what?
Where did you come
And I think
from?
we talked about possibly having like just a Mariah 80s album and then a features disc 2.
Yeah.
I think that could have worked better.
Well, the vinyl weirdly is in a different order. Like, the vinyl is a ballads disc and a 80s funk disc.
Okay, that's interesting.
Like,
I have to suss that out.
Like because it's 2 discs and one of them is just ballads. Like, it's just the slow songs.
We love that.
And the other one is, this is all that 80s fun. Like, it's
I think that probably could have worked better. Because there were times you're like, wait, what's this happen? Why is this happening? But, you know, Lead the Way, I think you mentioned at the time, is just one of her best vocals. And it really is. Like, it's probably my favorite ballad from this era. Didn't Mean to Turn You On is the Prince that I can get on board with. You know, it's that Prince sound. And it's a longish song.
Yeah.
But I can enjoy it. And at a certain point, if I'm over it, I can just skip it because it just repeats the same thing over and over. So I'm like, oh no, I've heard that. Great now. I feel satisfied.
You on. So, I mean, that is a total cover. Like, that is a great cover.
Yeah. Never Too Far, Reflections, Last Night a DJ Saved My Life, and Loverboy. If I'm honest, Loverboy is probably my least favorite.
Which is a weird thing to say, isn't it?
It's not my least favorite from the album.
Yeah.
I think that's probably Want You, but my least favorite lead single.
Yeah.
I think would be Loverboy.
Again,
I don't know why.
What if it had the Firecracker sample?
Even then, because I don't like that other song that much either.
Oh, the regular
and
song.
It's not the Firecracker sample. I just think it's just not the best of... I think Heartbreaker is a better version of Loverboy,
and
basically.
And Heartbreaker was meant to be on this album. Like, it just...
Yes, that's true.
They just got caught up in weirdness.
Everything got smushed around a little bit. But yeah, Twister, If We, Don't Stop Funkin' for Jamaica, and All My Life, they're all fine. They're not my favourites. I can take or leave them.
I like Twister. I like Funky for
But
Jamaica.
I think this one it's just really memorable. Like, I think because of the movie, it's, going and doing as much work as we did on the movie.
Yeah.
It really, I just remember this now.
Yes.
And it feels like its own special little thing. And it's one of the times where it's like, oh, Mariah's doing something very different. And that's awesome, because we talk about often Mariah just does Mariah and everyone else can figure it out. But I think this is a case where she's like, no, I'm specifically going to do a certain type of album.
Yeah. And
that's fun. I think you need those kind of detours in discography. Even if at the time people didn't get it, you can now go, I'm really glad that exists.
Yeah. And you know what else I love? I think it was ahead of its time. Like, I think she predicted a style of music before it happened, weirdly.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people were doing those kind of like, lots of people in a room shouting and having fun kind of songs. Like, that still seems to be happening. And it is like, for a straight pop artist like Mariah, who is known for doing basically big vocals and just kind of big pop hits, to do a concept album that's associated with a film soundtrack, like, that is a big kind of pivot. And, like, I know she kind of plays it down a little bit in the book. Oh, it was just a film soundtrack kind of thing. Like, what are you all worried about? But, Whitney Houston's film soundtrack is one of the highest selling things of all time. And Celine Dion sang one fucking song on that Titanic album. And that was massive. And
then the rest of the album was just that song instrumentalized with
people...
The sound of people freezing to death in the background, and then a quick dance mix.
But I think it's like, it is a really solid concept album. Like, I think it really works.
I almost wish she'd leaned even harder on it, but I think maybe at the time it was so wild and unheard of that she couldn't. But I think I would have gone further.
I honestly still think, like, again, like I said, I probably would have put it lower, because I remember at the time being like, I don't know. Like, I loved Reflections. Reflections was my song that I loved the most from the whole album. But the lush production on Never Too Far, the spectacular vocals on that song that you just said the name of, that's gone out of my head. Yeah, that one, Lead the Way.
Which is actually, funnily, probably why Twister for me isn't quite as high, because there's other really great ballads. Yeah. And Twister's that are better.
Twister's
it's still good.
An inventive, like, also for a Mariah ballad, it's inventive. It's, it's and it's also telling a story, which she doesn't always do in a song. Like, her songs are kind of expressionistic, like, they're kind of reflective of her emotional state, as opposed to kind of painting a portrait of a person, which Twister does. But the fun, like Funking for Jamaica, I absolutely adore. Like, I just think it's great fun. Last Night a DJ Saved My Life, I adore. Like, they're just, it's an album I can listen to from beginning to end without feeling like any song outstays its welcome. And
and that's probably one of the things for me. The length is decent. It's like, okay, this is an appropriate amount of time for me to listen to an album.
And it's just like,
and there's enough surprises on there to go, oh, this is unexpected.
Oh yeah, this is fun. Oh, that's right, this song's on here. Yay, I'm having a party. Oh, we're having a reflective moment now. Oh, now she's singing. She's writing a song psychically. Imaginary lighting plot from nowhere. But yeah. So yeah, I absolutely adore Glitter, and it is my number 7.
Heaven. I was like, and I'm trying to sit here. I think we'll do a recap before we get to the top 5 to remember who said what. Because I'm going, oh God, who said what when? I should have written it down. No, because when you were talking about it, I was like, either you're rebutting that you've already done it, or you're about to do it.
No.
So that makes sense.
Yeah. No,
perfect.
Trust me. If I join in, it's because I'm in the same spot, and it's just easier than saying my number 7, and then I'm going to say the same thing again.
No, but I thought, maybe you've already, as in maybe you've done it at 11, but hadn't said everything yet because you're waiting for me. I was like, oh no. Well, that's easy. Then I can smash straight into my number 7, which I think might also be a tiny bit controversial, though not as controversial as Butterfly. This album is here because the highs are so incredibly high.
Yes.
That some of the other songs just don't excite me as much, I suppose.
Yeah, that's fine.
So when I go to this album, I just want to listen to my favorites again. I'm not skipping. There's actually no skips in my little list, but I kind of end up skipping because I'm like, oh no, but I want that really great song.
Yeah.
And that is The Emancipation of Mimi.
That is controversial.
I know. Because, I mean, We Belong Together, Fly Like a Bird, It's Like That, Shake It Off, Got Your Number, Say Something. They're the songs I want.
Yeah.
And they're just so good that I want to go back again.
Well, that's hits,
I'm like,
hits and shirts.
There's hits and shirts. Whereas I think, I've got Your Girl, One and Only Circles, I Wish You Knew, To the Floor, Stay the Night, Joyride, Mine Again. All fine. Yeah. All good tracks. Nothing. There's a couple that are a tiny bit yelly. So if I've got a little bit of a headache, maybe not today. But even those are not bad songs.
Yeah.
So this was another one that was just hard to know where
to
put it.
Do you include the deluxe, or is that...
I didn't for this, but I did think about it because, again, Don't Forget About Us isn't really my favorite of the hits.
I love it.
So I think that would just sit somewhere in the middle. And then we know I didn't like The Sprung.
That wasn't.
So I didn't count
that. Wasn't
that.
On the deluxe. That was on the super extra
confusing.
21st century deluxe.
Exactly. So what I tried to do, I tried to stick to the 14 tracks, and then I'd consider the others orbiting around us. So yeah, I feel like the replay value is quite high on this. You can put it on, you're going to have a good time.
Yep.
But again, this is why this, it seems like 7's so low.
It's like
not.
playing
it's
a best
so many
of.
Good albums.
It's like she's released a best of, just all in one album.
Yeah. But I also think it's probably the best of the latter half of her career in terms of the singles. They're just people had counted her out, and she's like, hang on a second. I'm just going to release one of the greatest songs and the number 1 song of the decade. Just hang on. Hold my brolly.
Damn. Cole's about to close in a minute.
Yeah.
It's like career's about to shut in a minute.
Yeah.
Can I get your number, baby?
So I think, and there was little things like To the Floor, which is so much like Tilt Your Head Back that it's like, oh, what's happened here? Has Nelly ripped himself off? Is that the one with Nelly? Oh no, he's in one of them.
Yeah.
I don't remember. He's in something.
To the floor.
And then also listening to this after Charm Bracelet, it's like, oh, she's had her B12 shot.
Yeah.
She's done Charm, and it's just gone, oh, hang on. I forgot that I'm Mariah fucking Carey.
Mariah Carey.
And I'm going to put out a great album. So yeah, I think it's more that the great songs are so great that they're the ones I cotton to. And there's just some that I'm like, I don't remember that one because I never get to it because I'm going to that other one.
Yeah. And there's so many great
that's
songs.
why it comes in here.
I totally understand that.
All right. Which brings us to your number 6.
Number 6. All right. My number 6, which I, for a while, thought was going to end up being my number 1. And then it's just there's just a couple of points where I'm like, oh, it's a little bit undercooked in sections, but it emotionally, it's still my favorite album of all time. But I know that there are better songs and albums that hang together a lot better. But the songs that I love on this are amazing. It's Music Box. And yeah, it feels like it should be higher because it's got some of the greatest Mariah songs of all time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Including Hero. Vocals. But yeah, just kind of going back to it, there's just those couple of Clavillis and Cole songs that are a little bit, maybe I don't love this as much as I did when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know, there's the Babyface one that's like, it's fine.
Which one did he do?
You Never Remember It, and it's ironic because it's called Never Forget You.
It's Never Forget You. I never remember it. So this is where I can interject because this is also my number 6.
Oh, there you go.
And I literally wrote next to Never Forget You that it's better than a skip, but I literally never remember it.
Never remember it. Oh.
I never remember it.
But yeah, like even though the technically last song is my favorite, you know, one of my favorite Mariah songs of all time.
I did include If This Is Everything Fades Away.
No, the one before that. I love Everything Fades Away.
All I Ever Wanted.
All I Ever Wanted, which is, you know, it's a belter. Like it's a Mariah belt. Like she goes to town on it. I love Everything Fades Away. I also love, I know it's technically not on the album, but Do You Think of Me, which was the B-side of
yes,
Daydream. And, you know, maybe this is a thing like, you know, Emotions I listen to a lot. This I listened to so much as I did Daydream. Maybe I poisoned the well a little bit. Maybe I just, these songs are so familiar. I'm like, yeah, I know that one. I know that one. But yeah, I just think there's a couple of flat spots that it just, you know, when it soars, it's Hero. It's, you know, one of the greatest Mariah songs of all time. And then when it's not soaring, it's kind of like, oh yeah, this one's on there, isn't it?
Yeah. And I had the same sort of thing. Like I look at the infinities we've got Without You, Hero, Anytime You Need a Friend, Everything Fades Away. Other great tracks, you know, Dream Lover. I like that Now That I Found You's on there, even though I don't think it's 100% where it could be.
Yeah.
But I like that she's like, let's put a dance song, let's put something else on.
Yeah.
But then I think, you know, the Forgotten One, Music Box, and a couple of others, like I think what I've been thinking about you, I said the song is decent, but the production lets it down.
Yeah.
It has some of the greatest, but also maybe a few of the forgetful.
Yeah, I think that's
ones.
it. It's got old school album filler. Like it's before she really took control of her own career and went, I'm not doing that. And I think, like, I know ironically I had Daydream lower, and it is, you know, probably has better production on it, and the songs probably hang together a bit better, but it doesn't have Hero. And it doesn't have.
Yeah, sure. Like it's just Hero. It's the number one that happened during a number 2.
Yeah, while she was squeezing out number 2. But you know, like the highs on Music Box are so high, like they are like soaring. Like it's everything you just said about Emancipation of Mimi, essentially. But but the lows probably, you know, I don't think there are that many lows on Emancipation of Mimi.
And I think for this one, like the reason I probably put this above Emancipation is exactly that reason. The highs are so high.
Yeah.
And as much as I think the highs are high on Emancipation, and they are, the vocals maybe aren't as incredible as they are on something like Without You. I think Without You is one of her best runs. Like I know it's not her song, but Anytime You Need a Friend has a choir, and it's the best use of a choir probably for me. Or is it a choir or just a lot of BBs? Either way.
No,
it's power. It's there.
Yeah, it's all going on.
And then listening to the Australian version, which does end with Everything Fades Away. It's like they come back. Like there's just so much to love in those great songs, which is why. And it's shorter than Emancipation as well. So true. Even if there's a few that I'm not huge on, you get through them a bit quicker.
And also, I can never get over the big belty key change in All I've Ever Wanted. Like it's one of those, whoa, it's like Whitney Houston doing I Will Always Love You. It's like, whoa, what is happening here? What is remember when we saw Kelly Clarkson do that? That was amazing.
Oh my God. And in just that little Jimmy Fallon thing.
Yeah.
It's like, what happened? Wow.
What was that moment?
It was insane.
Well, should we find out what our top 5 is next week?
I think we might have to.
Otherwise we could be here until, you know, Christmas.
Exactly. Something tells me we will be here till Christmas. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
Top 5 hints. But
All right, we are almost home. You making anything happen? No, you've got like 4 songs.
I'm making some
out.
things. Yeah, I have the songs out and I'm working on a lot behind the scenes, but nothing I can announce just yet. But please keep enjoying the songs at Possible Prince X. The video for Have You Seen the Moon Tonight is out and people seem to be enjoying that.
And shout out to Paul who sent through some lovely reviews of what he thought of your music. Absolutely lovely.
Yes, thank you, Paul. I thought that was so sweet. And I also love that you pointed out the artwork, which I actually created myself as a designer. And I thought I'd give him a little bit of a nod to the font that he was enjoying. That is actually my handwriting with some tweaks that I've inverted, some anchor points and the like. So there's a little, behind the scenes goss on the Possible Prince X. But it was really sweet. I very much appreciated it.
Oh, well,
so thank you for listening.
Thank you, Paul. He's, he listens to my other podcast, Adam Richard Has a Theory, which I'm making happen every day because I'm insane.
Yeah.
And you can get that wherever you get your podcasts from. Like I say about the hard quiz book that I wrote, available in all the good bookshops and the bad ones. I'm not discerning.
Yeah, I was going to say, if anyone's listening to this podcast, they're getting their podcasts from the trash. But we're so glad you found us because we love you.
All right. The top 5. What are going to be our controversial 5 to 1 in the next episode of Me? I Am a Memoir, the meaning of Mariah Carey. Bye, Lamely.
Bye.